What's up, vinyl community? This is Steve from Steve Spins Records, and today we are going to be looking at a 2020 Tone Poet release, Duke Ellington's Money Jungle. So I was really interested in checking out the Tone Poet series. There's a lot of great jazz reissues in the series. This one definitely caught my eye because it not only had Duke Ellington as your lead artist, but then there was also Charles Mingus on the bass and Max Roach on the drums. All three of those guys super well known in jazz, and I thought it would be really interesting. I think I'd heard this album once or twice before, but wanted to check it out on vinyl, wanted to check out the Tone Poet series version of it, and so let's get to it. So again, you see the jacket on the outside here. Everything that I've gotten from the Tone Poet series has been super high quality. These are printed at RTI, I believe. It's the Blue Note record label. The vinyl itself is 180 gram audiophile quality, mastered from the original tapes, all analog mastering by Kevin Gray. So that again is just, it's almost worth it just to test it out to see what it's like to get some vinyl like that. And then here you see the inside, there you see the guys in the recording studio. So this was recorded in September of 1962 and then released in 1963 in February. It's 30 minutes and 12 seconds long. There are 12 tracks on it. Side one has Money Jungle, Les Fleurs Africaines, or the African Flower. Very Special in Warm Valley, and then on the back side you have Wigwise, Caravan, which is actually one of the 7 tracks that was not done by Duke Ellington. It was actually by Juan Tizol, and then Solitude closes it out. It's a really interesting album musically. So when you hear it, and the title of it is Money Jungle, right? So when you hear it, you're getting a little bit of jungle. You're getting a little bit of, like, the Money Jungle might be the urban setting where the musicians are finding themselves, having to make money to stay in the concrete jungle, that type of thing. At the time of recording, Duke Ellington himself was 63 years old. Charles Mingus was 40, and then Max Roach was 38. So there was a bit of a generational gap between Duke Ellington and Charles Mingus and Max Roach, which I think led to some interesting dynamics. The other story about the album itself is that at one point, Charles Mingus walked out of the recording only to have Duke Ellington chase after him, and there's differing accounts of where Duke Ellington went to go get Charles Mingus back into the studio, whether it was in the elevator, whether it was in the street. Mingus had brought his bass with him, so it was a big deal. What he was upset about, there's differing accounts of that. It was that he, didn't have any of his compositions on the album. It was all Duke Ellington, and then one from Juan Tizol. So, just an interesting thing. And then the music itself is very dissonant as well. So there's a lot going on in this record in particular, which you'll hear right from the get-go, right? So Money Jungle is the title track, and it starts off the album. So that's something to keep in mind as you're listening to it. It gets I don't know if it's like easy listening, right? So it's not necessarily background listening, but it is energetic. It does have a lot of movement and energy in the music itself. And I would suggest it for someone who's looking at jazz, someone who's, maybe has a few jazz albums and is looking for something a little bit more outside the box, a little bit less mainstream. I think this album, it was kind of in the in-between of all these artists' careers, and they're coming together. I think there was even a record deal for these artists to make a second record, but because of this first record, they weren't having anything to do with each other after the record, so they ended up scrapping that second project. So it's just kind of interesting, and when life imitates art and art imitates life, you get this kind of rub and kind of the friction of it. And when you think about jazz, you often think about jazz being very smooth, very melodic, very kind of ambient, or smooth flowing in the background. This, not so much, right? So you're going to get a lot of dissonance, a lot of intricate harmonies, and a lot of kind of tension in the music itself. So with that in mind, it's definitely a post-bop album in that era of jazz, if you like that. So that might be another thing to consider. And again, post-bop can get a little funky too. It can get a little bit dissonant. It's the type of jazz that when it's on, sometimes my wife goes, "Hey, what, can we change the track on that?" Like it doesn't sound right to your ear, even if you're kind of casually listening to it. So it's not an easy listen, but it is a good listen for sure. And the Tone Poet series, and in particular this release of it, was great. This, I believe, was a United Artists. It was not Blue Note. Claims to be from BlueNote.com, but the label on the disc itself says United Artists Jazz. So I don't know if Blue Note now has the rights. Yeah, we'll take a look at this. I don't know if Blue Note now has the rights, but definitely clearly says United Artists Jazz on the record itself. So maybe Blue Note has it through Tone Poet, and then that's how they're able to do it. But they went with the original United Artists Jazz label on there, which I kind of appreciate. And yeah, it's just an interesting album to have, and definitely a nice one from the Tone Poet series to keep on the radar. So that's my take on Duke Ellington, Charles Mingus, and Max Roach and Money Jungle. Let me know in the comments if you picked this up from the Tone Poet series, if you like it, what you think of it, if you can feel the dissonance on it. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video, or if you like Duke Ellington, or if you like Charles Mingus, or if you like Max Roach, any of those guys. If you like jazz, if you like dissonance, give me a thumbs up. And be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit the bell so that you get notified every time I make a new video as I go work through my vinyl collection and give you an idea of what's happening with the records and kind of what to experience before you buy them. So with that, thank you for watching this video. I'm Steve from Steve Spins Records, signing off.